we're talking about capital crimes. People who cheat, people who are rebellious teenagers, just, disrespect your parents like one time, you're worthy of death, apparently.
That's not found nowhere in the Bible.
All right, I'm gonna hop off, guys.
Except it's argued by a couple of the big names in your movement, like Matt Powell. I can point to 2 different videos where he's done this.
I've got him personally on my channel. I can direct you there.
I can also point to
if anybody says that, they're wrong. The Bible doesn't say if your child just disobeys you one time to put them to death. So I don't care who says it.
The direct quote that Steven Anderson himself uses, the pretty much prophet of the NIFB, is dash their heads against the stones.
Yeah, he did say that. So what I like about that is you saying you don't agree with Steven Anderson. So that's
one, two, just a second. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who dropped?
What's up, biblical history?
This one guy.
Oh, this one guy dropped. So this one guy first is next. I do think Dragnot is thinking about going to a movie at some point. So Athena, you will be right after that.
Actually, Nakasuchi, somebody else just showed up.
Yeah, who just showed up?
Biblical something.
Biblical history skeptic.
Biblical history skeptic. I'm Chris.
How's it going? Right.
So I have an idea.
So we're full again.
Hey, Naka.
Yeah, what up?
Love you, man. I have a cool idea. Let's give Mr. Aaron Ford a couple minutes to ask everyone, and I mean actually a couple minutes to ask everyone questions. So
Drag tried to do that a while ago.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah, let's
time it so that
Drag did had a beautiful drag moment, and I love it, and I can't wait to cut it out. But yeah, I'm definitely down for that.
So let's take I'm going to give Aaron Ford about 5-10 minutes. Aaron, you have the floor on whatever you choose on that, 5 or 10 minutes.
Well, I thank you for doing that. I really don't have much to ask because what I'm trying to get across is the gospel message. The Bible says that the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God.
Wouldn't you be interested?
I'm trying to get the gospel out there because I want to see if maybe I can get somebody saved on here. But without being saved,
well, dude, I'm going to tell you, that won't ever happen.
You're not going to understand any Bible doctrine.
Don't you have some human interest? So you believe in this reprobate theology, and pretty much everybody here is a reprobate. So wouldn't you be interested in asking questions of reprobates to see just some humanity? Ask anything you want of any of the reprobates.
Sure. Hey, let me ask this: how many people in here are sodomite?
What is a sodomite in your opinion?
A homosexual.
Does it count if you like doing?
But I'm a pansexual.
Does it count if you like doing butt stuff with women?
Anybody who's a sodomite on here, I don't even want to talk to you. So
for one, it's an open room. So if you're gonna be here, you got to kind of put your hate in check and be open to that. Because
I have been very open, but the Bible says not to cast your pearls before swine. So
right, but hey, Aaron, I
would definitely give credence to my brand new pansexual friend over a hate monger. If you want to remain and continue the conversation, that's completely up to you. But it's not like I'm going to allow somebody to be individualized in some kind of negative way because your 2,000-year-old book tells you to have a fucking problem. That's not going to happen. You feel free to leave.
Hey, Aaron, let me ask you. Aaron,
to ask you all the questions. So that was
feel free to ask questions. If you're going to stay here because I don't want to talk to anyone. I will fucking stand in opposition to that shit every time. Ask questions of any of the reprobates here. I mean,
what are you afraid of?
I'm a reprobate.
I'm afraid you're going to catch me.
Hey, can I please ask him a question, please?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm
a little angry.
Yeah, look, hold on. You just said a moment ago, Aaron, that you were here because you wanted to share the gospel in the hopes of saving souls, and you followed that up by saying, I don't want to talk to sodomites. Okay, so are you here to try and save souls for Christ, or are you here to pick and choose which souls you're going to attempt to save?
I'm saying that a sodomite cannot be saved. So obviously I want people to be saved, but a sodomite
the
is
Bible say
past
that?
being saved. So there's nothing I can do for them.
There's
So I don't
people
even
in your
want to talk
church,
to a
but there's
sodomite.
people in your church that were former homosexuals that supposedly found God and turned away from their homosexuality. So how is what you said true?
Who's that? You got evidence for that?
Can I say one thing right now because it's starting to happen and grate on me? Please keep in mind, try to keep one person talking at a time because I physically cannot hear everyone at once. I had ear corrective surgery and I'm still classified as hearing impaired.
Yeah, and nobody can hear it, and I'm bad about it too. But yeah, I stepped away for a moment. So try to speak one person at a time. Whew, deep breaths, raging, go deep inside.
It also is very painful when you have multiple people speaking at once.
Yeah.
It is actually very painful. What I was going to try to do, and then I kept getting talked over as well, is give Aaron Ford 5 to 10 minutes. Aaron picked anywhere in there and can ask as many questions about people in this chat as he would like, any of the people he'd like, and get to know everybody here so he can try to save souls.
Okay, well, I came on here I saw a lot of videos that y'all made that was coming at the NIFB movement. So I just came here to defend some of those allegations that clearly you guys don't like that we preach. So I really don't have too many questions. I was kind of planning on getting questions, my way.
So let me step in here real quick and help out my brother Nakasuchi here. So I'm going to step away. I'm done asking questions or engaging with you, Aaron. Not that I wouldn't love to engage with you for several hours, but there's a lot of people in here that we need to get in. Nakasuchi just sent out in the chat that he's more of an engager and he's not as much of a moderator. I've moderated some of these things. So just here's the thing. We're gonna get these other people in here since you don't want to ask questions.
Yeah, please moderate for me, John.
Yeah. So look, if people get talking over one another, I am going to say point of order, and at that moment you go need to shut up. Please, I say that with love, and so that I can get control of it again. Aaron that says he doesn't really have any questions, but he is, except for his ideas that we all disagree with, he is being awfully reasonable and willing to engage with us. So the first person I want to go to that we haven't really been able to hear from, and he's tried to get in several times, and we all talked over him, myself included, is Sock Account. He tried to engage Aaron a couple times and wasn't able to get in. So let's Sock Account engage with Aaron for a couple of minutes, and we'll get everybody else in turn. Absolutely. So
I'm going to step away for a minute to get my ears going.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Okay, so just continuing on what we're saying, like I was talking about earlier there. So I asked you, whether or not you follow all the Levitical laws or believe that the Levitical punishment should still be in effect today. And you've expressed some disagreement with that all Levitical laws should be followed. But you have pointed out that there are certain things that should still be followed to this day. And you bring up the example of homosexuality in reference to Romans. And then you finished off with quoting Romans 1:33. Now, when it talks about the deserving of death, in that case, then, are we talking about a physical death or a spiritual death?
Yeah, we're talking about the physical death, the death that is stated in Leviticus.
Okay, but that's just an assumption on your part. The question that I have there, then, is that the Levitical laws aren't followed at all. That was under a different covenant. And while I agree that the morality of God doesn't change, definitely the punishments that are laid out for those people aren't in effect for punishments nowadays. And when they speak about death, you were quite clear that when you referenced Adam and Eve, that not all death, for given over to the reprobate mind, is necessarily a physical death. The deserving of death there, could imply a spiritual death. And that would fall in line more with the stuff that came from the New Testament, because that would still allow for people that weren't spiritually dead but still committed sins, that a chance at repentance and being saved.
Sure, you could look at it that way, but I would just say that that's the wrong way to interpret that.
Well, why would you say that that's the wrong way to interpret that?
Because the people that they're talking about have already been dead spiritually.
Well, except that they're not, because like I said, I asked you earlier whether or not it was true that somebody who had committed acts of homosexuality could be repentant and saved. And you said that not every single person who commits homosexuality is spiritually dead. So to enact some type of death penalty against them would be killing off prospective people that could be saved, which would go against...
Right, because Romans 1 is specifically talking about a reprobate, somebody who burns in their lust towards the same gender.
Yeah, and that would earn them a spiritual death, which seems to fall in line with what is laid out in Genesis as well. Then, so your addition to making special pleading and kind of picking and choosing where you want the Levitical laws to stand. Don't you see that this is kind of an inconsistency in your position?
I don't, but if you do, you have your opinion. That's fine.
Well, wouldn't you think that it would be better? Do you really think that there are people that like homosexuals that are beyond being saved?
I think most of them are,
but not all.
I said if somebody does commit an act of homosexuality, I wouldn't just say. And I gave the example of somebody doing it one time, and then they're repulsed by it. They obviously don't burn in their lust. So I would say that that person could still be saved.
So you don't think that anybody has ever been repentant that is engaged in it for longer periods of time?
If they're burning in their lust, no. The whole reason why they can even burn in their lust and what's called vile affections, they're given over to their vile affections, is because God has already given up on them and they are reprobate.
Okay, so this goes back to the question that Drake was asking earlier, that it's a symptom. Do you think that once somebody gives over to these vile, what did you call it?
Vile affections.
Vile affections. You think that once somebody has vile affections, that they're no longer being, that there's some type of transformation in them that stops them from being saved completely?
They've crossed the line.
Right. And that's in every single case. So, you're okay with homosexuality once.
I'm just saying if somebody does commit the act of homosexuality and they're not burning in their lust, because that's the important part. God says that they burn in their lust one towards another. So when you have that unnatural affection of wanting to be intimate with the same gender, then you have been given over to a reprobate mind at that point.
So experimenting at college is okay.
Yeah, you're totally okay with that.
Hey, as long as you don't burn in your lust, then I think you still have a chance to be saved.
So like if you picture a female as you're doing it, is that okay?
So what you're saying is if I bend a guy over and plow him in the ass for like an hour and a half, but I don't like it, I'm cool, right?
Hey, man.
I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm seriously asking a legitimate question because I'm interested in.
Well, here's the thing. I already answered that.
Do you not burn?
If you were genuine with your question, you would know that I already answered that.
Are you married?
I am.
Do you burn for lust for your wife?
Sure.
So what's the difference?
The difference is that's a natural affection.
What makes it natural?
Because God gave me that emotion.
I don't believe in God.
You don't, I do.
Yeah, but I'm not advocating that you should die because you believe for God. You're advocating that they should die because they have the same emotions you have for your wife.
Well, he's advocating that they should die because he's decided that within his interpretation that in this case it's not a spiritual death. In fact, that we should invoke some type of capital punishment on people.
I do have a question. What if a person at one point in their life is burning with lust, but at some point that does die out? They no longer desire that.
They're reprobate.
Right, but you said only those which are capable of being unsaved are those that are burning with the lust.
Yeah, so do you believe once saved, always saved?
Yes, I do.
So what if you're saved, truly saved, and then you have those one or two experiences? Are you no longer saved and reprobate?
You can never do that because once you're saved, you would never get to a point of being a reprobate. And once you're reprobate, you never come back to a point.
I was saved. I was truly saved. I truly believe in God. I was truly saved. And I am and have been labeled by every leader of your church as a reprobate, as equal to any homosexual. I am going to burn in hell alongside them. And you know, I mean, maybe you don't know that, but that's the truth. That's the truth. So, I mean,
but
please explain it.
The other,
I'm interested.
the issue though is that Nagasuji is that our friend here is implying that he knows the content of a man's mind, of his soul. You know that that he's just saying that you know, once somebody repeats the behavior more than once, then he knows the content of this vile attraction or vile affection that's inside them. And you know, he's saying that he's just kind of asserting that people that act in this way have this vile assertion and that they've given over to the reprobate mind. But I'm trying to find, you know, where it's, our friend here thinks that he can know the content of a man's soul truly, that this is the case, that he'd be confident enough in passing a physical judgment on them.
Sure, when I see a dude prancing around in a dress and saying that he loves other guys and he's been in a relationship with a guy for like years or whatever, yeah, I say that's strong evidence that that guy's a reprobate, and that's how I would judge.
Did Jesus wear pants?
Yes, he did.
I don't think they wore pants.
What about
Historically, kids didn't exist at that time, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jesus would have worn a robe. Also, I'm very sorry for the Q-tip, everyone.
I think that's foolish, because in Deuteronomy, and this was well before Jesus came on earth, he said that it is an abomination for a man to put on a woman's garment, and that for a woman to put on a man's garment.
Okay.
And when
there were different robes
Bible,
for men and women.
if you study the Bible, the process of elimination would tell you that a man.
Yeah, hold on, everybody, hold on. Yeah, Chris has not gotten in yet. He's a biblical expert, and I would like him to get in for a few minutes with Aaron. And Aaron, if you don't want to, speak with Chris, then just listen to what he has to say. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm about to head out. I just want to say I didn't get a chance to talk to Chris. Everybody else, Mr. Ford. If you want to have another conversation, I put my email address in there, dragnot@gmail.com. Come holler at me if you want another conversation. All right.
Yeah.
Be safe, Dragnot.
All right.
See you, Drag.
I'm sorry about Q-tip.
Take care, man.
There was a few folks who wanted me to critique their technique or whatever. That's fine. Come talk to me in Discord. You know how to get a hold of me. Bye.
Have a good one. No.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
So first, what you've basically shown is that you actually don't know what the dress style of ancient Levantine peoples were. Israelites did not wear pants. Nobody in the Levant wore pants. Everyone wore different kinds of robes. Women wore a specific kind of robe, and in the Old Testament probably also wore a headdress or something over their faces as well. That is going to be basically the biggest difference you have between men and women's garb in the Old Testament. Now, I've got quite a few questions, and you don't have to answer them if you don't want to.
Good, because I won't be.
Oh, okay. Well, do you believe that Moses wrote the Old Testament or the Pentateuch?
I don't talk to sodomites.
Yeah. Well, here, I'll answer for Aaron. Yes, he does believe that Moses wrote that. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. It's going to be funny because there are so many amazing little tidbits in the Old Testament. For example, Abraham somehow talks to the Philistines, even though the Philistines are Indo-Europeans who did not appear in the Levant until 500 or more years after Abraham died. How did he talk to people that didn't exist yet? But since he's not going to reply to me, you guys can continue.
So, Aaron, are you going to continue to be too much of a little bitch to speak to another grown man, or what?
That's not a grown man. That little Twinkie right there is not a grown man.
I am 22. I am a grown man.
Excuse me, did you hear the way he just came at me, and now you want me to be respectful, John?
I don't think he. All he did was ask you questions.
And that was bad?
I already stated I'm not talking to any sodomites, and then the boy over here with the fro came at me disrespectful, so I'm going to get nasty
he's
back.
a sodomite too. He engages in ass play with his women, so he's a sodomite too. And you just engaged with him.
Okay.
You've been engaging with reprobates this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put the
Some of
call
us
out.
haven't
I
said
said, "Is
anything."
anybody in here a sodomite?" And I guess it was only you. So I don't know who else is a sodomite, but I don't want to talk to any of you if you're a sodomite.
Even though nobody answered no, you've chosen an answer to be yes for somebody.
And Chris did not say anything. He didn't call you any names. He wasn't disrespectful to you. He asked you a couple questions, and as soon as you jumped in, you wanted to call him names. Now you haven't been that way up to this point, and
Yeah,
we've
that's because
commended.
now I'm being attacked
Hey,
verbally,
Aaron.
being called
Can I-
names. So I
Aaron,
guess
So,
I'm being
Aaron,
nasty.
Hey, Aaron. One quick question, Aaron. What's so wrong with you talking to me, but you won't talk to them? Because you just spoke to me, and I'm a sodomite. So what's the problem with that? You answered my questions.
I didn't know
You answered my question and talked to me. Oh, so you treated me differently? Oh, but you still. So what was wrong with that, though? What was
I
wrong?
didn't know you were a filthy sodomite.
So why'd you
didn't
judge?
say that.
So now you're still interacting with the
now I
sodomite,
know.
even though you said you wouldn't.
So I have a question from the chat.
All right, so
May I ask my question from the chat?
I guess I'm gonna sign off here because this is kind of getting nowhere on my end. I defended what I believe. You know,
Could you field one more question? Could you field one more question from Aaron? She just said the other Aaron in the room just said she'd like to ask a question. Could she ask you one more question?
Well, here's the thing. She said it's coming from the chat, but since I'm in a chat room evidently full of sodomites, then I guess the chat that she's referring to is probably coming from a sodomite too.
What the fuck did you expect to happen? You came on the fucking Raging Atheist. I plainly fucking stand for equality of human beings. Any person that were to come in to my chat and are free and genuine and willing to talk to any human being are going to have fucking authority in this chat over any human being that's going to label somebody and not speak to somebody based on a 2,000-year-old fucking book. I have held in my rage and I am fucking done doing it. You are a hateful, bigoted fucking bastard. I hope you have good luck with Skylar Fiction. He's going to end up telling you to eat a bag of dicks just like I'm telling you to go fuck off, you bigoted motherfucker.
Well, the person has clarified.
What's up, guys? If you like my video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share me on your social media. Comment in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button. Watch what's next. Watch what YouTube recommends for you. Tell all your friends how crazy Nakasuchi is. I'll see you soon.